Hi, God Lily back here again. We are thanking God, I am God, for being here. And you'll find that in the 3rd chapter of Exodus, 14th verse, where God said, I am that I am. And that's the Coptic way. And we are going to the book of Titus. And I want you to turn to Titus. That's in the New Testament. It is very difficult to find if you're not familiar with your Bible. It is in the back of your Bible. It is between Timothy and James. Yeah, Timothy and Hebrew. So we're going to Titus. And we're going to the 1st chapter of Titus, the 15th and 16th verse. Okay, let's start at the 14th. Now giving heed to Jewish fables and commandments of men that turn from the truth. Not giving heed to Jewish fables. This is what God is trying to tell us. Don't give heed to all the fables and stories that people told you. And the commandments of men that turns from the truth. Because man will give you commandments of what he think that you are supposed to live. I have people always trying to tell me how I should be, God Lily. I'm telling them I'm a God, and they telling me their Christian way. But yeah, they're sicker than I am. They're in more stress and trouble. Some of them might have more money, but they have terrible children, all kind of stuff. So I'm wondering, what good is your religion when I know I'm a God and I'm doing just as good as you doing? Or better. Now giving heed to Jewish fables, not giving heed to Jewish fables and commandments of man that turn you from the truth. Unto the pure. Listen to this. All things are pure. That's why I'm telling you, have a pure mind. Be one with God. Not what man thinks, because you can never be pure if you're doing what man telling you how to do things. Because they teach you to lie to yourself. They teach you to say that you don't want certain things when you do want it. And to pretend in front of people that you don't do things that you do. So you can never be a God. You can never have a pure mind or heart. Unto the pure, all things are pure. But unto them that are defiled and unbelieving is nothing pure. If you don't believe you're God, if you don't believe you can have the mind of Christ, if you don't believe that God and Christ lives in you, Jesus lives in you, then nothing's pure to you. Unto them that are defiled and unbelieving, nothing is pure, but even their minds and their conscience is defiled. Where do you think God is? He's in your mind and your conscience. That's the only place he ever told you he's going to be. It's in you, in your thoughts, your mind. Where do you think Satan tried to get to Jesus? In his mind. When he met him on the mountain. Where do you think he's going to try to get to you? In your mind. Why is that? Because where did Satan come from? He came from God. Where is Satan living? In you. Where's God living? In you. How do you know? You got to choose. That profess that they know God, but in the works they deny him, being abominable and disobedient unto every work's good reprobate. He called you reprobate. To everybody that's pretending that they serve God, running to church every day and thinking and doing all kind of stuff, you're reprobate. Why do you have to prove something to man? God knows everything, your thought. That's who you should be proving stuff to. Okay, so we know now, if you're pure, your mind is pure. Everything's pure to you. So if you grab smoke some marijuana, guess what? That's pure to you. If in that you take a drink, that's pure to you. You know why? Because you're God. And you're not going to overdo it. Time for me to take some medication behind it. I know that God made this for me. I'm not going to have a cabinet full of pills that man has made and told me it's better for me than what God gave me. That's not how I grew up. I grew up with a part Indian mother, part Irish mother, part black mother that believed in herbs and healing and growing stuff natural from the earth for us and growing our own food and raising our own pigs and chickens and things like that. So I can see the difference. We're going to move on. We're going to move on to Timothy. Sorry. And a lot of people, I was in California some years back with some young kids, teenagers, 15, 16, had babies like I did when I was 15 or 16. And I was reading the Bible to them. They said, how you going to read the Bible and smoke weed? I said, this is cannabis, and this is what God gave us. And so what's the better time for you to relax and meditate with your cannabis than to read your Bible or to meditate with God and talk to God? What else could there be more important to do when you're smoking? So we're going to 1 Timothy 1:5. And Timothy is just before, just before Titus. So we're going to go 1 Timothy 1:5. That's in the New Testament, in case you don't know. Again, the first chapter, the 5th verse. Timothy 1:5. And it says, now the end of the commandment is charity. Charity, you know, everybody knows it means love. Out of pure heart and of good conscience and of faith unfringed. Now the end of the commandment is charity. Out of a pure heart and of a good conscience and of faith unfringed. In other words, the most important thing you can have is charity. And that's why it tells you, neither give heed to fables of endless genealogies, which ministers questions, rather than godly edifying, which is of faith, so do. That's in the 4th, in case you want to read up. You don't want to give heed to all these fables these preachers giving you of how you can be holy. Not eat pork, not eat this, not eat meat, not say a curse word, pray 10 times a day. You should pray all day, really, as you walk. It should be, as you do everything, it should be just a prayer. You don't have to stop and get away for nothing. God, you don't have to do that. God is in you. So everywhere you go and everything you do and everything you see is with God. I mean, you could always take time, but we don't want to get ridiculous with it. That's what we do. We get so ridiculous that we're not serving God anymore. We're just doing some kind of ritual that looks good to people, but it means nothing to God. Because without a pure mind, without a pure heart, without pure thoughts, you mean nothing. Desires to be teachers of the law, understanding neither what they say nor whatever they affirm. We got people jumping up, want to be preachers and teachers. They want to teach somebody something they haven't even learned themselves. I mean, I'm not saying there's something wrong with it, but all I'm saying is, why don't you try to learn yourself first before you try to teach somebody else, children or old people or whatever. At least prove something that you know God. Prove it. We'll be right back.